Yeah. So the videos I've been working on have been taking way longer to make than expected, and I kind of felt bad that the only other video I've made in a month was a reaction video to a Nintendo Direct. So I'm gonna give some quick thoughts on Atlus surprising me by announcing a sequel to Soul Hackers of all games. Soul Hackers, for those of you who don't know, was a Sega Saturn game from 1997 that was basically SMT Blade Runner. It stayed in Japan for years until we got an updated port on the 3DS, where we filthy gaijins finally got the chance to play it. It's a very weird game, but from what I played, a very good one nonetheless. And now we're getting a sequel. But it's not a direct sequel. This is just another game in that world that will have references and other fun hints and nods here and there. Which is nice for me, since despite me really liking what I played, I'd never have actually beaten Soul Hackers. But I might just do that anyway, since there's no better time to get on that than now, I'd say. In regards to references and such, they showed off P5 DLC for the game because, of course, it's P5, it prints money. But I would not be opposed to some Spookies costumes. There's not 6 main characters in this game, at least that we've seen yet, so you couldn't have all the members of that group represented, but it would be nice. And you know they would want to bring Nemissa back somehow. Whether she's a super boss or just a costume, you know good and well they want to bring her back. So it would be very interesting to see how they end up doing it. If they don't, I would genuinely be surprised. But expanding a bit on the mention of the main cast, it's also very interesting to see a Devil Summoner game where you have a party of 4 and it's people. Like, I remember in Soul Hackers having like 5 demons with you at a time, so it's interesting to go more standard with the party setup and to have the demons operate like personas in a way, where it looks like your skills are dependent on what demon you have attached to you at the time. Though there is like this all-out attack-like moment in the trailer where the main girl, Ringo, she summons like 7 demons at once and lets them loose on an enemy, so yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what exactly they do with the battle system in depth. But since I mentioned it, hey Atlus, you made another game where the protagonist is female. Thank you immensely for that. For those of you who might be a bit confused on that, the last time that Atlus made a Megaton game with a female protagonist was Persona 3 Portable. So it's been a while, you know, just 12 to 13 years. The only other female protagonist in that time was that you could choose to be a girl in the mobile game. But either way, Atlus is not the best with having cool girls to play as in their games, and despite me liking a lot of their protagonists, I'm very glad to see that another girl gets to take charge and kick butt. Not to mention, she's a protagonist that talks and already has a name, which is also very rare for Atlus. Another thing that's rare for Atlus, a Megaton game coming out on an Xbox console. I think the last Megaton game that was on Xbox was 9. And even if you want to count stuff like Catherine, that was 10 years ago. Like, this game feels like we fell into a parallel world where Atlus was like the opposite of itself for a few moments. Because think of this. This is a Megaton that got announced the same year it's coming out. And I think the last time we had something like that was back in the 3DS era. Now, I am bummed that there is no Switch version announced, since that's the only current gen console I own. But I can play it on PC at least, so that's good. Though it's kinda weird, since the first Soul Hackers was on 3DS, you'd think they would want to release a version for the console that people who played the original would reasonably own. But it's whatever at this point. Atlus works in mysterious ways sometimes. One thing that I kinda hope that's in this game, which was very unique to Soul Hackers, was that because that game was more modern and had a urban-focused setting, a lot of the demons were based on urban legends and cryptids, like you had Purple Mirror, Kashima Reiko, Akamanto, Turbo Granny, and besides Persona 2, which, you know, makes sense for that to be the only other thing that had something like this, we haven't really had demons based on modern urban legends since the chemtrails demon in SMT4, if we count that. So I'd like to see those return, personally, even if it's just bringing the ones from Soul Hackers and giving them 3D models. I would enjoy that immensely, but the dream would be that they add even more, like Teke Teke, Yamauba, or Hachishakusama. Imagine a boss fight against Kuchisake Onna. That would be amazing. Besides that, a couple of minor things to bring attention to. The Gomadin is a circus now, and what's neat is that it shows some demons that you can fuse before you really get into the menus, like how SMT4's Duology did it. I hope a lot of the conveniences that 5 brought to the table get reused here, because that made fusing always a joy. Another thing of note is that the environments look good. I especially like this moment where Ringo runs into the store in the city, and there's this building in the background that has a giant Black Frost model, and the screen on it is cycling through like Jack Frost themed drinks and a logo that says Frost Cinemas. Like, that's charming. I love stuff like that. Speaking of some of the demons though, wow, the shading on them is insane. Like, I especially noticed it on Angel's wings, but they look like paintings brought to life. It's really visually pleasing. And lastly, the story seems to be another Summoners vs. Phantom Society kind of deal, like we saw in the first Soul Hackers, but on a bigger scale than just a bunch of teens and college kids getting caught up in something they really weren't ready for. I kinda hope, even though I know some people might not want this to come back, I kinda hope that some of the society members are like goofy goobers again. Give me another dude like Carol J. Give me another dude that can summon demons while playing a guitar or a saxophone. Just, you know, give me stuff like that. I'd enjoy it at least. But yeah, either way, the game looks great so far. We are 6 months away from this game, which will... man, it will be here before you know it. And I'm excited. I hope other people are excited, and here's hoping that Atlus delivers another fantastic game, which, let's be honest, they're going to. There's no worries about that. It's Atlus. Either way, I think that'll do it for this video. Sorry again about not uploading much lately. I have a bad habit of tackling topics that I think will be simple but end up being more complicated than I expected. Hopefully, I'll reach a breakthrough soon, but anyhow, thank you all so much for watching. Be safe out there. I'll see you guys next time. Take care. The game looks great so far. We are 6 months. Oh, 6 months. Let's do that again.